I've answered the question. I still love it. It's so good. I actually hate this book so much. It's these single sentences that are just the most painful thing I have ever read. Hey divas. Oh my gosh. Hi. It is currently 6:30 in the morning, and today I'm going to embark on doing something that I'm very nervous to do, that I've been putting off doing, that I've considered whether I even try to do. I need a sip of my coffee first. Delicious. Today I'm going to start rereading A Little Life, which is something I never thought I'd do when I read it the first time, but I feel like it's something I need to do. I have the book right here. I have been thinking a lot recently about how books find you at very specific moments in your life, and how when and where they find you is so important to your reception of what you're reading, and how that really changes how you respond to what you're reading, and how if a book finds you at a particular moment, sometimes it can be the wrong moment, sometimes it can be the right moment. I have been wondering that a lot with regards to A Little Life, because I feel like this book found me at my absolute worst. This book found me on the precipice of a mental breakdown. This book found me honestly at a time when I was just so sad, and I thought there was no hope for life. And then I decided to read this book, and I spiraled even further. Like, I hit rock bottom, and then I read this book, and then I grabbed a pickaxe and said, let's see how much further we can go. But simultaneously, I have also been saying and thinking to myself that this is one of my favorite books. It's one of those books that I'm not even sure that I like to talk about. Like, I haven't really talked about it on my channel. I haven't really talked about it with my friends. Like, when people ask me what my favorite book is, I deflect and I go like, oh, well, my favorite book that I've read this year. Part of me has always been like, what if I recommend someone to read this book and it absolutely destroys their life? Because personally, that was how I felt after I read this book. I don't think I've ever read something so depressing and sad. I also did a lot of research after reading this book, and I did read up on the controversies surrounding the author, what she has said about her position on therapy and psychology, and I feel like I have many thoughts on that I will get into, possibly not at 6 a.m. in the morning. But I do have conflicting emotions on it. I read this book and I was like, oh my god, actually therapy doesn't work either, so there's just no cure. And that caused a spiral of the downwards variety that lasted like a solid 2 years, until I met a therapist that really connected with me, and finally I was like, oh my god, no, therapy can work. So that was the point where this book found me. When did I read it? 4 years ago at this point. But now I feel like so much better. I feel so happy. I feel so good. I feel so much more confident within myself and my ability to be happy. And I really just feel content. Like, I feel fulfilled. I feel great. So why not read this book? I just think I have to read this book to find out, A, is it my favorite book? Because I've been saying that, but I've been feeling very wary of saying that. I don't know. I feel like it's so complicated. And that's part of the reason why it's my favorite book, because this book did convince me of something that I don't believe, which is that therapy wouldn't work for me. And I think that's a really interesting marker of what a book can do, and the way a story can move you so deeply that it completely changes your whole perspective on something that's been like your North Star guiding you throughout your whole life. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna read this book, I think, going into it in a better personal headspace, but I am very nervous because this book does really get to me. Jude is a character that I absolutely like. Just I feel I can't even talk about it, like how much I feel for him. I think that's another reason why I talk about this as one of my favorite books, is that I feel so much for Jude. I feel so moved by him as a character. He feels like a real person to me. Even though I have not gone through the same things he has gone through in this book, I read this book and I was like, oh my god, I recognize all of those thought patterns that he has in myself, and I've felt so similar to how he has felt. To see him go through the atrocities that he goes through in this book is honestly, like, I don't even think there's a word to describe it. I feel nauseous reading this book, but I really just feel like in order to fully move on past one of the worst periods of my life, I have to reread this book and figure out, do I like it, or was I just depressed at the time and it really spoke to me? I'm also very nervous to talk about it, and I am in general someone who is terrified of saying the wrong thing. I'm really trying to approach this sensitively because I think it's so important that we approach these things sensitively. It's something that is so personal to me as it is to so many people. Also very tricky to dissect at 6:30 in the morning before coffee. I don't know why I chose to do that. So yeah, this is my reading vlog. Today it is currently Sunday, like I mentioned. Absolutely gorgeous morning. We've been having the worst weather in Toronto ever. It's been the worst winter since November. It's been snowing. It's been like polar vortexes. It's been buried under 50 centimeters of snow. And finally, it's the May 24 weekend, long weekend. We have gorgeous, stunning, beautiful weather. It's sunny. It's gonna be like 22 degrees today. I am so excited. It's like 15 degrees right now and it's 6:30. And I have a pretty exciting day today besides reading this book. I'm gonna start my morning. I'm gonna go for a quick run. Sunday is usually the day that I like to do my long runs, but because I ran the half marathon a few weeks ago, I've been taking it a bit easy ever since. I will casually be dropping that I ran the half marathon in every single conversation for the foreseeable future. I ran it a few weeks ago. I had so much fun. It was so great. I did fall within the first 5K nonetheless. Some people hit the ground running, some of us just hit the ground. So I'm only gonna go for 5K this morning, which part of me likes, but part of me is like itching to do like a lengthy, like I want to do like a 15-kilometer run. Like I just want to go, you know, like I just want to start and I want to go and I want to feel like I can just keep going forever and run across the whole city. Like that's what I like to feel like on a run. But I've been taking it easy so that I can rest and not injure myself. And then I'm gonna come back here and I have plans at 11:30 to go get brunch with a friend that I have not seen in forever. So I'm so excited. We're going to Mildred's Temple Kitchen in Liberty, which is a place that apparently has very good pancakes. So I'm pretty excited about that. While I'm in that area, I think I might also go to the Well and go shopping. Because why not? And then I'm gonna come back here, I'm gonna sit on my balcony and I'm gonna crack open a little life and read the rest of the day. I think I just really have to make sure to be taking care of myself mentally while I read this book, so that's the plan. I have dog-eared pages in this book. That scares me. I know people have a lot of strong feelings on this book, so I'm nervous, but it's gonna be good. I am all ready for brunch. Should I show you guys the outfit? This is the outfit. I'm so excited. It is finally summery enough. It is finally like almost, I mean, it's like 22 degrees, so it's getting there. It's my day off. It's the long weekend. It's gonna be a vibe. I have a little life currently in my bathroom because when I wash my hair, I do a lot of like bond repair because I've been bleaching my hair for 2 years at this point and she's been through it, so I have to keep, you know, putting masks, bond repair, so much. So I bring a book so that I can read while the treatments are sinking in and doing minimal work, to be honest. It's all wet at the back too, not from being in the bathroom, but because it was in the kitchen earlier this morning and I set it directly into a puddle of water. But I am reading it. I'm like 10 pages in and I do think this is a good book. It's really interesting because I feel like I'm reading it much more from like an analytical perspective than I was before. I mean, I'm sure when I get like further in, it's just gonna be all emotional, like there's gonna be no capacity for analysis at all. But currently, as I'm reading it now, I'm very much so approaching it as like a literary critic, and I'm really noticing things about the characterization, just knowing the ending and where these characters end up. It's so interesting to go back to the beginning and see, because it really is a coming of age novel of sorts about these men who are in their late 20s at the beginning of the novel. I believe that's how old they are, and they haven't really hit it big yet. It's interesting to see them at the beginning because I feel like the ending and the middle sections are so emotional to me that I really, when I think of these characters, I think of them at their most successful and not like when they're trying to rent an apartment and struggling to make rent. But I'm gonna put this down. I'm not gonna pre my brunch with A Little Life. I need to be happy. I need to go, like right now. I'm gonna go to brunch and then I'm gonna go shopping. I really want to go to the Well. I just want to be downtown today because it's so nice, and Toronto, when the weather's nice, is like a completely different city, especially like for the first few days that the weather is nice. It's like everybody leaves their house, everybody goes out. I went for my run this morning as well too. I hate doing 5K. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. 5K is a terrible distance. It's still like a good distance, like you're still running for a while, but it's not long enough to make me feel happy. Okay, I'm gonna go out, have fun, and then I'm gonna come back, read A Little Life, and update you more on my thoughts. I've made it back home. It is hot outside. I'm dead. I had a really nice time with my friend. I hadn't seen her in so long, like I mentioned, and it was so nice. We went to Mildred's, which I have to say, the pancakes did not live up to the hype. Any place that's like viral or that like Toronto influencers hype up in Toronto is usually like okay. And it's like not bad, it's not great, it's just, it's okay. And there are really great food spots, there are really great shopping spots, but they are not the ones that people are posting about online. So if you ever come and visit Toronto, please just know that. Like, I also checked out the Well after because I was gonna do some shopping, but honestly I don't think it's actually a real place. Like I go in there and every time I go there it's like an out-of-body experience. Like my soul leaves my body. So yeah, I went into the Well, regretted it, walked out, and then I went vintage shopping. Here's the vintage haul. I got this t-shirt from, it's like an old Guess t-shirt, and then I also got, I really like this one, like a vintage Puma pink soccer shirt. So I went vintage shopping, then decided to walk around and walk home basically from Liberty Village, which is a long trek. It's not an easy one, but I was like sun drunk and I was like, it's so nice outside. I just want to like see everybody. It's the long weekend. So picture me a little bit buzzed off one spritz after brunch with my friend, having a blast on Dundas, people watching, vintage shopping, listening to Starman. It was honestly a perfect Sunday. And now I'm home. I'm gonna take off all of my jewelry first, change into my comfy clothes, go out on my balcony and read A Little Life. But I think it was important that I did this beforehand because I think I needed to do some self-care and make sure I'm in like a good mental space to read this, because I really don't want to have what happened last time happen again. That wouldn't be good. That would derail my whole life, as it did the first time. So we won't do that. I'm gonna go read for a few hours and I will check back in with a reading update. Guys, this has been like my dream day. I'm not gonna lie. I went out for a run. I had brunch with my friend. I went shopping. Now I'm back home. I'm on my balcony. I'm reading. This is perfect. It's golden hour, it's sunny, it's warm, it's May. I am currently about 50 pages in to A Little Life for the second time. And I said at the beginning of this video that I wanted to learn if I really did love this book. Like if this book just found me at a time when I was really sad and down and I was like, I love this because I'm sad and it fits the mood. I was curious how I would feel about it now that I am in a much better place. I'm 50 pages in. I've answered the question. I still love it. It's so good. It is a masterclass in characterization. It is one of the most interesting books I've read in terms of tense. The way it moves in and out of past and present and memory and present and future is so fascinating. It's unlike anything I've ever read. It switches back and forth between the past and the present so effortlessly, and then also alludes to the future in a way that doesn't feel like out of place or jarring or weird. Just all of the transitions are so smooth. I've already started crying, so that does not bode well for the rest of this reading experience because I know what happens next and I'm not even at that yet. I feel like I've started crying because I'm reading the beginning of the book within the context of knowing why Jude is the way he is. I'm gonna go make myself dinner and then maybe read a little bit more. But yeah, that's the update. Hello, good morning. It is the next day. I'm 100 pages into A Little Life currently. I've just made it into part 2 of the book, which is called The Postman. It's the first section where the story starts to be focalized through Jude. Still really enjoying it. I still think it's just so well written. All these characters have all these like idiosyncratic behaviors. I think it's such a masterclass in characterization. Like, it's really subtle. There's just these small behaviors that they each do, and it just feels so realistic in the way the things we do subconsciously and without any thought actually reveal so much about who we are and our values and beliefs. I'm 100 pages in. How long is this book? It's like 600, 700 pages. It's 800 pages. Okay, cool. I'm gonna try and read this book in like 4 days. Like, I can't be reading this book for any longer than 4 business days. No, 4 days, period. I'll work weekends, I'll work OT in order to finish this book. As much as I love it, I can't be invested in its world for an extended period of time. I don't think it'll ruin my life this time. I know a book can't technically ruin your life. Like, I did that all on my own. I will take full credit for ruining my own life. Today would normally be my day off, but I do have work today because it's gonna be so busy. I also have some chores to do today. Monday and Tuesday are like my grocery shopping errands days, so I have to go to Whole Foods. Do I have to go to Whole Foods? No. Well, yes, the Whole Foods sourdough bread is genuinely one of my favorite foods. I know it's like probably just a frozen boule, like it's not fresh made bread by any means. They probably get it shipped in en masse. I don't care. The Whole Foods bread is the best. I've tried local bakeries. They're not as good. Is it a bit ridiculous to spend the time commuting to Whole Foods for the yes, but that bread, worth it. The experience of going to Whole Foods weekly, also kind of worth it. Am I living above my means? Possibly, but worth it. You know how they say that the key to success is to like wake up every morning and behave the way the successful version of yourself would behave? Sometimes I try and do that, but also sometimes I just feel like I'm living above my means. Like, sometimes I think I take that the wrong way, and I'm like, oh, well, if I'm living the life of the successful version of myself, the successful version of myself goes to Whole Foods weekly. Oh my god, but something I want to talk about is that I really enjoyed, I didn't appreciate the first time. Well, I probably did appreciate this. Willem talking about his journey as an actor and like how he's working so hard to like figure out, like, he's been trying to be a successful actor for so long. He's like in his late 20s at the beginning of the book, and it's like, is this even worth trying anymore? At what point do I give up? And there's like this really interesting line about how in the olden days, giving up your dreams of becoming an actor and settling for like a corporate job would have been praised, and it would have been like, you're growing up, you're doing the right thing, good job. Now in our current era, the idea of like giving up your dreams for a corporate job is seen as like selling out, and it's seen as not commendable. So that was really interesting. I'd never really thought about that before. It was also another really beautiful passage where he was talking about how he felt like in his attempts to become an actor, he is like swimming in this like murky water, and he doesn't know if there's like a way upstream or a river that will lead him out to the sea of success or whatever. And I thought that was really interesting too, because like, honestly, I'm gonna go to Whole Foods, and I also need to go to Sephora and Shoppers. It's gonna be a good day for me and a very bad day for my bank account, but then I'm gonna make it all up, you see, because I'm going to work and it's time and a half. It's practical. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go to Whole Foods, but I will update you when I have read more and have more to say. I'm back from work. It's like midnight. I did not do any more reading today because I've just been working on, oh my god, let me get my book, please. Where is it? I brought it to work so I could read on my break, and then by the time my break came, I was simply too tired to be reading. I'm gonna hopefully read a little bit more tonight. I'm still not too tired, but I do want to get up early tomorrow so that I can go for a run. I do want to go to bed early, but it's midnight, so we're kind of past early. So sunk cost fallacy, might as well just stay up later and read a little bit more. I think I'm gonna read until page 200 tonight because I'm trying to get into the habit of reading before bed anyways. So am I missing out on sleep? Yes, but is it in the name of making healthier habits instead of going on my phone and scrolling? I feel like it might be better to read for an hour before bed than it would be to scroll for 20 minutes before bed, because even though, yes, technically then I'm getting 40 minutes less of sleep, reading is a more relaxing, less stimulating activity. Do you see how it all cancels out? I'm sleep deprived. I had like one of the busiest shifts of my life, and then as I was leaving work, I got a text from my childhood best friend that I have not spoken to in, I want to say, a good like 9 years, possibly 10 years, like since we were 13. I haven't spoken to her, and she reached out, and that was really nice. That got me thinking a lot about like friendship, especially because like I'm reading this book, which is like so much about friendship and how it ebbs and flows, and how, you know, friendship is just such a, it's such a complicated thing, honestly. I used to think it was simple, and now I'm like, whoa. Guys, look, my bruise from my half marathon fall is not getting any better. Why is it still so big? This was 2 weeks ago. I'm on like page 130. I read 30 pages on the subway today, and I don't know if I'm just too in my head about how much other people are staring at me, but I felt like other people were looking at me for reading this on the subway. Like, I saw some people look at me and go, well, what's that about? But like, it could have been absolutely nothing, and I'm just being self-conscious and paranoid and thinking everybody's staring at me and everybody's judging and everyone has so many thoughts about what I'm doing, when really I don't think anybody is, you know? Like, so tell me everything is not about me, but what if it is? She said that. Maybe I will just go to bed. Yeah, I think going to bed is kind of the move, honestly, because now I'm realizing that tomorrow morning I have to go for my run, then get ready, film a video, go grocery shopping. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna read a bit more. But maybe I'll read to, you know what? Compromise. I'll read to page 150, and then I'll get lots and lots of reading done tomorrow. No, I have to edit a video tomorrow. The 4-day goal of reading this book is not panning out. Maybe I forego sleep, but then if I forego sleep, I'll lose my mind. God damn it. I'm gonna figure out my life a little bit more. We've worked it out. Healthy behavior wins. We're getting some sleep. I'm gonna catch some Z's, as they say. As the boomers say. I think I'm a boomer at heart. Hello. It is the next night. I didn't film anything all day for this reading vlog, but I have read 100 more pages since you last saw me, and I have cried 2 more times. So there's that. I have been reading more. I've been loving it more. I forgot how beautifully written this book is. I forgot how much I cared so deeply for Jude, and it is weird reading it because I remember the first time I read it, even though I have been through nothing like what Jude goes through in this book. But I think I and myself and a lot of people relate to Jude and the way he thinks and the way he feels about himself, feeling such intense guilt whenever you make an accidental mistake and attributing it to being like, oh my god, I'm a horrible person. Why does anybody want to spend any time with me? I feel like I am kind of, though, not in that mentality as much anymore right now. But when I was first reading this book, I was in such bad place. So I should not have been reading A Little Life, is what I've learned, is that it was just the wrong time to read that book. So reading it this time, it's like my heart breaks for Jude in like a new way entirely. I mean, like, one of the most heartbreaking things with me with this book is the fact that Jude is so good and he's so like caring and such an incredible person, but he just can't see it because of his trauma and because of what he goes through and early on in his life. And it feels so like it's a heartbreak like no other reading this book. It really is. It's like a distinctive kind of gut wrenching feeling that I get when I read this book. Just at the part now, like, I'm getting more into like Harold and Jude's relationship. There's like a little bit revealed about like Jude's early childhood, and I know it oh my god. I'm going to keep reading, and like I mentioned, it is really well written. There's like passages in this book that I just like, the wind gets knocked out of me. I'm like, that is such a beautiful way to articulate that. And also, I think this book really captures the brutality of life beyond just the events of the story and like the horrific things that happen. It really captures how life is just so twisted. That one passage where Jude says about how he's an optimist because every day he gets up and he chooses to live. Fuck me up. It's so hot in my apartment right now. I need to turn on the AC and stop filming. I think I'm done reading for the day because I do have a video to edit for tomorrow. So I'm gonna go do that, go to bed around 1, and then wake up tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning I have to go to the orthodontist because my permanent retainer broke. So yay, that's fun. You know, like the wire that's like under your teeth when you get braces here. So a few weeks ago I was looking at my teeth and I was like, huh, like this tooth looks a little crooked. And I was like, maybe I'm just being self-conscious. Like maybe it's not the big of, like that's not the biggest deal. And then lo and behold, I'm eating one of those L. Gibson cookie dough balls that are like, you know, blended up oats, peanut butter, so they're like really nice chewy texture, but they're covered in chocolate. And I unhinge my jaw, as I have been doing most nights for the past 3 years. I unhinge my jaw, I take a massive bite out of this, and I just feel something go and something feels off, and I'm like, oh, it feels like I got something like stuck in my retainer. And then I start like moving my retainer around a little bit, and then I realize I'm moving my retainer around a little bit. And ever since then, I have felt like my jaw is sore. I never knew that those little wires behind my teeth were doing so much work to keep my jaw in place. But I'm going to get it fixed tomorrow. I have to go to the suburbs to get it fixed because my orthodontist is from when I was 12 years old and growing up in the suburbs. I have work to do. I have to edit. I have to get my air conditioning on. But I will see you in a few seconds with an update. Hello, I'm about to leave for work. This reread, I need it over with. I need it done for my sanity. We're gonna have to pick up the pace, like starting now. The thing is, the only way that I will be able to read enough is I will have to sacrifice some sleep. And I know from experience that that also really affects my sanity. Then again, I know reading A Little Life has really affected me mentally. And both have had negative consequences. There was a period of time last fall when I was doing my master's. I was like, okay, how do I time manage? How do I get all of my ducks in a row and like get my assignments done? And I was like, oh, I just sacrifice sleep. Bad idea. Losing sleep is not good for my mental health, neither is reading A Little Life. So how do we compromise on this? How do we get A Little Life done as quickly as possible without sacrificing sleep? I do feel like I have to do this reread. I feel like it's a completion of like the full circle moment. Like I read it when I was first entering into like the worst depressive episode of my life, and now I'm on the other side of that depressive episode, which I genuinely never thought I would get out of. Like I thought it became a point where I was just like, this is who I am, like this is who I'll be from now on, and now that's not the case. So I feel like I need to finish this book to put a period on that sentence of my life, you know, to just close the chapter. All the literary metaphors we have for, you know, basically starting anew. So I will do it, but I'm 200 pages in and I'm already losing it. Like my mind is the just overall tone of the novel and the general portrayal of life. It's just an unforgiving look at life. It is relentless. It's a lot. I started off this vlog being like, I need to take care of myself while I'm reading this, and then I've been losing sleep. I am working overtime this week, so are we taking care of ourselves? I don't know. What I do know is that I have my first day off Sunday, and that's like gonna be my first proper full day off in like a while, where I don't have anything. I don't have plans, I don't have obligations, I don't have chores, I don't have work, and I kind of would like to finish A Little Life before then, because I don't want, like, that's my day and I need that day to be joyous and happy, and it's not going to be like that if I'm reading A Little Life. You know what I'm saying. I'll update you when I reach the halfway mark, which is page 400, because this book is also 800 pages long. Why did I choose such a torturous book to be my favorite? I didn't choose. I don't know if it's my favorite book. Like, is it? Like, it causes me so much pain and strife, and I do take certain issues with it, but there are so few other books that I feel this strongly about, so I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go to work, probably cry reading A Little Life, and I'll see you on the other side. Hello, I have rested. I woke up this morning, went for a run. It's a beautiful, nice, sunny, cool day, so it's like perfect running weather. And I have thoughts to share on A Little Life. So I'm about 250 pages in. I'm getting to the point where like every 25 pages there is a sentence or something happens that makes me want to cry so hard that my eyes fall out. So that's where we're currently at. And I've been thinking a lot about like, is this my favorite book? Again, is like what I constantly ask myself every time I read this book, because I go back and forth on it because it brings me so much pain. It brings me so much distress. I see the criticism of it completely. It's like one of the few books where I just feel so frustrated at my position as a reader, and that I am like just having to like partake in this passive role of just watching the events unfold. It's like it gives me that feeling of like powerlessness. You're reading all these thoughts and you're like, no, this is not true. Like, this is like, you're a good person and like you are so loved. And so you're in his head feeling so much sympathy for him, but you're occupying the role of the other characters in the book who love him so much. I think that's why there's the choice to have Harold narrate in first person, because I think we're kind of put in that position of like being someone who like really cares for Jude so much, even though he can't care for himself. Plan is for tonight is to go to work, come home, read, and then Olivia Rodrigo has a new song coming out and Maisie Peters has her album coming out. So it is a big day for pop releases. So I'm gonna read and then I'm gonna take a little bit of like a break from reading and listen to the new music to like reset my mind a little and take it easy. And then I'm gonna go back in and read a little bit more and hopefully I want to get to page 400 tonight. It has to happen. Okay, I'll see you tonight with a reading update. Good morning. It's kind of afternoon, actually. Is it a reading vlog if every clip just is me coming on with an excuse for not reading? But I really liked my outfit today, so I wanted to film. I don't know if I'm just like avoiding reading this book, but I mean, like, I actually just feel like I have no time. What did I do? I said, oh my God, Sunday's gonna be my day off. And initially I was like, I'm gonna finish before Sunday. And then I realized, no, I can't do that. So Sunday will be my reading day. And then what did I go ahead and do? I made plans for Sunday. I think it might be like an unconscious form of like protection. Like my mind is like, we can't read this book. Like I spent so long being so upset and distressed by this book that I was like, okay, I have to put it out of my mind. Now that I'm actually reading it, my mind is still trying to put up all these barriers towards me like actually finishing it. But I do want to sit down and just read it like but I don't have the time. Hello, guess what? Oh, don't fall into my kitchen sink. I got sent home early from work today because it is a torrential downpour all day. It's cold, windy, wet, and it's almost June. I'm gonna read a lot of A Little Life tonight. I think I'm gonna just sit down, lock in, read it all. Not at all, but well, I'll read a lot of it. I'm gonna read a lot of A Little Life, which I'm not excited for, but I feel like it's a gloomy day. It's kind of, I have no excuse. I should be reading it like right now. But before I do that, I'm gonna procrastinate and I'm gonna make a banana bread, but I wanna like get better at baking over the summer. So I'm trying to like come up with new flavor profiles and new flavor combinations. And so I didn't wanna just make like a basic banana bread. What I want to make is a chocolate almond banana bread. I wanna do like different flavor combos with banana bread because I do love a banana bread. So I'm gonna make a chocolate almond banana bread where I think I'm gonna put some almond extract in the batter, and then I'm also gonna do like a streusel topping, and I'm gonna listen to Fluorescence by Maisie Peters because that came out this past Friday and I've been listening to it alongside Olivia Rodrigo's new song. It was a good Friday for music. It was a good new music Friday. I feel like I keep procrastinating reading this book as like a form of like mental protection. Like my subconscious is genuinely like, don't read this, but I will be reading. This reading vlog will at one point turn into a reading vlog, I swear. I actually hate this book so much. I am currently reading the section of the book that's called The Axiom of Equality. I read the beginning of this book and I'm like, oh my god, the writing is so good. And yes, it's sad, but the writing is just so good. And then I get halfway through and I know there's still so much more to come. Yeah, I initially set out to only read 100 pages. Like, well, I wanted to read as much as possible, and I started to read and I was like, I think I'm only going to be able to read page 400 because I'm tired. But then I sat and now I'm on page 420 and I kind of want to get to page 500 tonight, but I'm also not sure. There's two competing desires within me. One is like, finish this book as soon as possible, get it over with. And the other part of me is like, I can actually not take reading too much of this in one night. I'm also still undecided on like where I stand in terms of like talking about this book as like my favorite book. If I'm talking about my favorite book to someone that like I love so much, I would not want them to read this. Like but then here I am reading it for a second time. So what am I doing? So I don't understand that, and I don't know if that's like problematic or toxic of me. I don't know. I don't understand it. I have no idea what time it is because my phone died, and I said, okay, well, I'm cut off from the world. Might as well read A Little Life. Anyways, let's talk about something else. I did eat my banana bread, and it was delicious. Chocolate almond banana bread. I feel like I needed to add a little bit more almond extract into the batter because the banana flavor is so strong, but almond extract is pretty strong too, so I kept it like tame with like, you know, I was mindful, like half a teaspoon of almond extract, and then it tasted nothing like almond at all, so I might need to add a little bit more. Next time we'll experiment. Add less bananas, more almond extract. I think that's what I'm going to do next time. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to read 80 pages of this to page 500. That way I have 300 pages left for tomorrow. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Tomorrow I do have, in fact, my long run. I am running 10K tomorrow. It's my first like long run, so I have been very excited for it. I hope it's not still raining by the time I wake up tomorrow morning. So I'll read this and then I'll have the run, which will hopefully like clear my head a little bit. But I also have plans tomorrow, which will probably be good for me. I probably should get out of the house and not just be like reading this book and being alone with my thoughts. It'll probably be good for me to like socialize or whatever, because my head is not a great place when I'm reading this book. Before, when I said I'd been crying, it was like my eyes were welling up. We've broken the threshold of the tears have started to fall down my cheeks. It started being like not just like a facial movement, like a kind of, it's been working its way to my shoulders. Like I've been heaving, I guess is what I'm trying to say, with sobs. But hopefully I will finish it tomorrow. I will say that. I want to finish this book by tomorrow. I need it to be done. So that's where I'm at. I can't spend more than a week on this book. Good morning. Is it a good morning though? I did start my day by reading A Little Life, so I'm not feeling like the answer to that question is yes. I am currently on page 500. I said I was going to try and make it there last night, but I got to page like 460 and I was just like, I know my limits. I didn't once know my limits, but I know my limits now, and I'm like tapping out. So I did that, and then I read this morning. Oh my god, it makes me nauseous and it makes me so devastated and so sad. This is the part that I struggle with, because like I really don't even think there are words to articulate how this book makes me feel. I have 300 pages left of this book. It's getting finished today. I am about to leave on my run as well. I'm going to do 10K. I'm just going to read as much as I can in between everything else that I have to do, and I feel like that'll be the way to do it. I don't know if I want to be like completely subsumed by this book. We will see. Maybe I'll get some reading done in the afternoon before I go meet my friend. We'll see. Hello, I have to leave in about 15-30 minutes, so I'm getting some reading done in the meantime, but I'm not sure I actually can read before I go meet her because I'm gonna cry and I'm gonna ruin my makeup. Also, ignore the empty bookshelves. I'm gonna fill them up with books. By the end of the summer it will be full of books and my bank account will be emptied of all funds, so that's the plan there. Currently where it stands, we have this much left. I feel like it is possible to get it done today. I'm just at the part where Willem and Jude are like first getting into their relationship, and it's just making me cry. Seeing the way Jude's trauma manifests and comes back up in his relationship is just, it's yeah, it's really heartbreaking. I just need to get through this because I feel like I don't have really anything more to say as of right now, except it's sad. Once I finish, I'm gonna sit down and talk to you guys about this book. My premonition is that when I turn on that camera, eyes puffy, red, face covered in tears, swollen, voice shaking. I'm gonna read this and then go shopping, which it doesn't really seem like a good idea to pregame meeting up with a friend with a little life. I am on a time crunch, okay? That is self-imposed. Nobody's making me do this. Nobody's making me do any of this, but I'm still doing it. I'll see you when I finish this book. What did I say? It's 1:22 in the morning. I have been sat here reading this since 7 tonight. I started on page 525 and made it to page 814, which is the last page, and I forgot how devastating some of the sentences in this book are. I feel like it just feels like such a fully realized world of characters. Everything feels so real. It's these single sentences that are just the most painful thing I have ever read. Like, I don't think I've ever cried this hard reading a book. I cried really hard the first time I read it too, but I was like audibly sobbing a few seconds ago before I turned on the camera. And I've read this before and I knew what happened and I knew some of these sentences, but I have been thinking more about like whether I do actually consider this my favorite book because it brings me so much pain. Yeah, it's 1:30 in the morning, so I should probably go to sleep. I need to like sit with my thoughts for like a little bit, and then in the next clip I'll have like my actual coherent, cohesive thoughts. I will say something that differed from my reading experience reading the book this time versus the first time is the first time, I think, because you constantly hear about how Little Life is like the saddest book to ever exist, how it's devastating. I think I was constantly reading it with like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen next, as you do when you read a book for the first time. You don't know what's gonna happen, and when you're really invested, you're like, what's gonna happen next? I could never feel like fully relaxed in the moments of love that are shown in the book because I just was like constantly on edge and like, okay, but I know this isn't going to end well. Whereas I feel like then reading it the second time and like knowing that it doesn't end well, I could actually appreciate some of the like happier moments in the book, if they're even happy. I mean, like I don't think there's any fully happy moment in this book, but I could really appreciate more, I think, the representation of friendship and love and devotion this time, and that is something that I'm grateful for because I was really questioning whether I would ever reread this book. I think the first time I finished it I was like, I'm not touching that shit again, but I am grateful that I reread it because I think I appreciated those moments a lot more than I did the first time because I was able to actually sit with them because I knew what happened. Oh my god, my nose is running. Don't look. I sat down to finish this at like 7:30, broke for like some banana bread at 9, and then resumed reading at like 9:15. Let's see, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. 4 hours? I've been sitting here reading this book. No, that's bad. I also lost my phone. I think that was a big contributing factor. It's not lost. It's just somewhere in my apartment that I don't know. So I have to Find My Phone. I didn't bother looking for it because I knew if I had it by my side, I would not be able to focus as well. I'm gonna go find my phone, go to sleep, and then I'll update you in a much more coherent way once I've like worked out my final thoughts in the next clip. See you then. But this was me crying over Little Life. I'm not crying anymore. I'll probably cry myself to sleep tonight though, to be honest. I'll come back with my thoughts. Okay. Hi. I am sitting down here 2 days later after having concluded my reread of A Little Life, and I have so many thoughts that I have no idea how to put into words. So let's try. I finished the book on Sunday night. It is currently Tuesday, and I actually had a very well-timed therapy appointment booked for Monday, so that was actually much needed after reading this book and like working through some of the thoughts I was working through. And I did talk to my therapist about it, and she suggested that I go and buy a happier book. So one thing I will say is that I was really overwhelmed by the idea of having to do this sit down section of the video and like sum up my thoughts on the book, because there's so much you can get into, and I've already provided you with a like 37-minute reading vlog. I was editing it all last night and it's currently at 37 minutes. We'll see if I can cut it down anymore. I feel like I could make this video 5 hours long if I wanted to. There's so much to get into, there's so much to discuss. So I'm really just going to focus on right now my personal thoughts on the book, whether it's my favorite book or not, because that is what I set out to discover, and that's kind of what I wanted to make the thesis of this video. So I figured it would make sense to focus on one thing and really unpack that, rather than trying to focus on everything everyone's ever said about this book and try and cover all of that, because then I'm never going to be able to do each of those individual topics justice. And when you're talking about a book like this, I feel like it is important to offer those discussions the attention and energy that they deserve. So right now I'm just focusing on my personal experience of reading the book, my personal feelings towards the book, because that is what I feel the most equipped to talk about today, and maybe in the future I'll talk about other things. Starting off, is this my favorite book? Was I wrong for 4 years for thinking that this was my favorite book? No, I think it is my favorite book, and I think it's an odd experience to have this book be your favorite book, but it's just, that's the cards that have been dealt to me. And I think what makes this book my favorite book is how much it makes me think. And you can see, like, throughout this whole video I've been debating, like, is this my favorite book? Can this be my favorite book if I'm so hesitant to even recommend it to people? It's not an automatic process of me being like, I love this, it's my favorite. And I'm constantly thinking when I'm reading this book, and I love thinking. I overthink a lot. Does it cause me a lot of pain? Sometimes, yes, but that's why I go for runs and I clear my head empty, and then I come back to life after my run and I can think some more. And it's been really helpful for me to negotiate my relationship with thinking, because it's been fraught, much like my relationship with this book. I'm also just constantly working through the questions and the arguments that are put forth through this story. It feels so real. Like, it feels like these characters exist. And I think the realism also comes from how emotionally impactful the story is, because I think the more effective a story is at communicating an emotion, the realer it becomes, because your feelings are real, they're valid. And so when you feel something so intensely, that makes the story feel that much more real. And that's how I feel about this book. I feel like it is so evocative. There are single sentences in this book that I can't think about, that I completely forgot about until I picked this book back up, because I had to forget about them just to go about my daily life. And there is something incredibly powerful to that. I just saw a TikTok actually about A Little Life, and they talked about how it being so emotionally impactful is so important for empathy. Reading A Little Life is an excruciating exercise of empathy. And, you know, we exist right now currently in a time of such apathy. We are reading news stories about so many horrific things that are going on in the world. And if you're seeing clips of news coverage of what is going on TikTok, it's so dystopian, where it's like you're scrolling past this atrocity to a recipe for banana bread. And what this book does is, it's long, it's drawn out, it's a protracted horror, but it makes you sit down and really feel something. And we can't lose our ability to feel. It's something that is so important for enacting change, for just being a decent person. We can't lose that ability to empathize. We're in a culture right now that promotes that promotes apathy. I also feel like my experience of reading this book was so different now that I am in, like I mentioned, a better place. And I will say that I had no business reading this book when I was 20. I was already in such a dark place. I already had certain views about the world, and then A Little Life really cemented those views. And again, I don't blame this book for my own problems, but I will say this book does deal with a lot of triggering material that definitely influenced certain behaviors and thought patterns that I already had and probably would have had I not read this book, but were definitely exacerbated. And I sought out this book, so maybe I was doing it a bit on purpose, but I don't know. And I will say, even though I'm in a much better place now, reading this book still really affected me. I was crying. Like today on my run, I cried twice. It does really affect you. And so I will parrot what everyone else says, because everyone's like, make sure you take care of yourself when you're reading this book, be aware of your mental state. And I have to agree with that. And I know it's one of those things where people say like, oh, get 8 hours of sleep or drink lots of water and you'll feel better. And you kind of roll your eyes at it and you're like, whatever, everyone says that, so it can't be true. It's the opposite. Everybody's saying it because it's true. I really had to be on my self-care while I was reading this book. I had to make sure I was getting enough sleep. I had to make sure I wasn't stressing myself out too much, because I could feel the second I started slipping on that, it's a slippery slope. Like I just would have gone down. When I first read this book, I thought, I will never touch this book again. I will never read it again. I knew it was my favorite book, but I said, I can't read it again. And here I am sitting, having made it through a second time, probably will reread it for a third, but in a few years. I will say this book is unlike anything I've ever read. The writing is astounding. The way, I talked a little bit about this at the beginning of the vlog, but the use of past, present, future tense is so fluid, and the way the past weaves in through the present and the future is alluded to is so, it's just natural, and it doesn't feel jarring, and you never feel lost. And I will say, having read this at a place where I am happier, I found that I could appreciate a lot of moments in this book that I didn't appreciate the first time around. Like the first time around, I was like, this book is just on the whole horrible. Like it's all just about how life is horrible and the very worst things that happen in life. And then reading it around this time, I found I could really find so much more in the beautiful relationships that Jude develops throughout the book. And I mean, I felt that the first time around, the way love is represented in this book really got to me. Like I really felt it. I started crying even at the moments where things weren't objectively sad, because I thought this is just a really beautiful representation of love. I could actually find the moments of like happiness in the book, which are few and far between, but they are there, and I feel like it made my impression of the book seem so much more well-rounded. So I think I actually liked it even more this time around than I did the first time around, which I never thought I'd say. Coming to the age-old question of like, would I ever recommend this book? I don't think so. It used to be a book that people would say to me, I'm thinking of reading A Little Life. And I was like, don't. Because of my own personal experience with the book. It was like difficult, to say the least. Like I went through a lot after reading this book. And I was always scared that if I recommended this book, somebody else would go through the same pain that I went through. I do think it is just so triggering, and I don't know where people are at. You never know where people are at mentally. You're not inside people's minds. So I wouldn't feel comfortable just on the whole being like, blanket statement, I recommend A Little Life. I do kind of find it problematic that A Little Life is on these book talk recommends tables at bookstores next to like an Ali Hazelwood book. I think we need to be a bit more careful when we're recommending this book, because I mean, I think it's a testament to the ability of the writer, but because it's so moving and in its devastation, it is a really evocative story, and it can evoke some really painful things for a lot of people. Like, I mean, I used to not even be like, oh, this is my favorite book, because I was worried that people would take it as like a tacit recommendation, like, oh, read this book, it's my favorite. Now I feel like a bit more comfortable in stating that this is my favorite book, but I don't think I'd recommend it on the whole. I think I'd be very careful about who I'd be recommending it to, so there's that. So the answer to the question, is this my favorite book? The answer is yes, unfortunately. That is all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it was a long one, but I wanted to give this book the time and attention and care it deserved. Let me know if you've read A Little Life and your thoughts on it. I love hearing people's thoughts on this book. I feel like everyone has a different take on it, even the people who hate it. I will leave all of my links down below. If you would like to subscribe, that's pretty cool too. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you very soon in my next one. Bye!